Hey everybody, welcome back. One of the most common questions that I see asked, especially at the beginning and the end of every MLC, is which one of these cards here that you can find in the premium prize wall are worth getting, and should you get any of these cards over the plate or over the um, lottery chest here? And this month, we have three really interesting options. And the short answer is, are any of these cards getting worth getting over the plate or the lottery box? And the answer is, if you don't have them, yeah, yeah, they are. um, and I figured it'd be worth sitting down and taking a couple minutes and talking about each one of them, and why you should get them or why you shouldn't get them. And the short answer is, you should get them at the very least for their training ability. So we're going to start with Tamatonga. We're going to go to Braun Breaker, then we'll go to Braun Strowman, and talk about, um, should you get them as a fighter, should you get them as a trainer only, or possibly both. So we'll go over here. We'll find everybody's favorite. Excuse me, Big Papa Pump here. And let's talk about Tamatonga first. So Tamatonga is interesting. He came out in the new Bloodline month, and a lot of the new Bloodline cards haven't held up very well. Tamatonga is one of them. In many ways, he may have been maybe the worst fighter out of all of them, maybe the second worst. Granted, there's a new Bloodline moment that I don't have, so that may change him a little bit. But he doesn't have any gear. But does have two kind of viable move sets. Um, but really, the most valuable part of what he does is down here at his max training ability. Moves that generate pyro gems will create 3 more pyro gems, and purple gems do 30% more damage. This 30% more damage is kind of a trap. Moves that generate pyro gems that will create 3 more pyro gems is a unique ability in the coach slot. You may be able to find coaches that will create more pyro gems, but not 3. And there are a handful of cards, most notably Kerry Zane, that can really take advantage of this training ability. And if you do rely on a bunch of pyro cards that don't, fill bottom row or create a 1x3 or anything like that, may be worth looking into. This coaching ability does help Showboat Solo Sokoa, which came out in the same month, and could potentially even help Tongaloa, because I think he's a pyro guy as well. I said he's got two move sets. The first move set I'm going to go over is his move damage move set, and this one really isn't viable after 6-star silver. You can kind of make it work. I've experimented with the La Familia plate, couldn't really get anything going. I do have 150% move damage strap, and I have 100%, or I've got tier 6 takedown threes. Um, Purple move damages here, you could swap it with either a rainbow or blue. Blue would probably be the best. I don't really have an option for that. Green would be your second best. I don't have an option for that either. So, whoops, down here. I do have a green. I'm just going to leave it where it is, though, for obvious reasons. Yeah, so I'll just leave it as purple. Obviously, you want to match it to one of the colors of the moves that he makes. And all three of these moves do pretty decent base move damage. And the move order is bottom to top. Belly to back suplex, increase all your move damage by 100% for 1 turn. Then you've got the Samoan drop, choose 5 gems to make into blue, and power slam, choose 5 green gems to make into green. But you can see here the power slam does 1.3 million base damage. The Samoan drop does 1 million base damage. And that doubles just from this move alone. And this doesn't take into account any of the strap bonuses or entourage bonuses, which there are of course. So you want to get him loaded. So you're going to need 6 blue. That will get you started so you can use the belly to back immediately. Power slam to load Samoan drop to reload this is kind of the idea that you want to go through. Pat Patterson here gives you 100% more move damage. And then everybody else is just move damage. Goat Becky, blue moves will do more damage. And then I've got Mae Young, green moves that deal damage will do more damage. So let's take a look here. Now, this isn't a tour, so the tier 6 medals will kind of skew the damage a little bit. But this isn't necessarily what I think is his best moveset anyway. So you increase his move damage. Since you have the La Familia plate on, you still need to load this. I have Tour Perks on, so I have 1 green MP. I need 5 more. So I need to make a 5 match here. But because of the La Familia plate, I will get 3 blue MP back. So I only need to do 3 here to reload blue and blue. And then definitely take a look. Yeah, that's a 5 break. That'll be just fine. He started at 67 million health. Let's just watch the health bar. Over here, since this is loaded and I have 3, I only need to make a 3 match here. Then we hit this move one more time. And then we hit this move. So we're going to do 20 million. So it brings him down to 16 million. All right. And then whatever gem damage I can eke out of this. And we're focusing on green gems. So let's just do that. Not a ton, but we did, what is that? 52 million damage turn 1. That's not the worst moveset in the world. I understand that's not the greatest when you go against tier 6 medals. The 52 total damage that you did turn 1 is probably going to shrink to about 45 or less. But it is a move set that can be effective in tours and can be effective for, very situational kind of things. It's a move set to keep in your back pocket. And you're like, okay, cool. I need move damage for some reason. And I have to use a bloodline, and I'd rather not use Tongaloa. You don't have Jacob or Solo, right? But his most utility moveset is actually his triple purple, in my opinion. Now, this moveset doesn't hit as hard. And if you cascade with his move damage moveset, you're not doing the 55 million damage either. So you kind of have to keep that in mind as well. If you cascade, you're kind of out of luck. But let's swap everything over real fast. Now, I actually do use this moveset a lot for one very specific thing. It's a triple purple. You start with a Fireman's Carry Flapjack, choose 7 gems to make into trap gems. If broken by your opponent, it does some stuff, but that's not what you're looking for. You're wanting to break them and make 6 random gems into leech gems of strength 189, 333. This is a health steal, so there is some survivability here. Backbreaker makes 7 trap gems into purple. So this is how you break your traps. And then Gun Stun, deal 800,000 damage, make 34 leech gems into purple gems, and pin the opponent. I did not save my loadout, so let's put everything back in here. So you're gonna want to go with Gunther for 2 purple MP plus purple gem damage. Woods here for purple MP. You can get some trap gem damage here and generate more traps. I'm going to go with leech gems. And then I'm going to go with more leech gems because I'm not too awful worried about doing damage with the traps itself. I'm only making 6 of them, but I am going to be making a whole lot of leech gems. Let me double check. Yeah, we'll be just fine with this because these are 6 MP moves. Then we go over to the strap. I'm using the purple barber's blades. Whenever you make 6 or more trap gems, increase your purple gem damage by 75%. And then the Bubba Ray specs. Whenever you activate a purple move, increase your purple gem damage by 50% for a turn. You could probably get away with a purple Royal Rumble here if you wanted to, because that would take advantage of this by making 30 extra purples at the end of your turn with a 75% base gem damage increase. That could also help. You could even think about putting a trap 8 here, but that starts getting a little dicey. You have to place the traps the right way, so that's why I went with the barber's plate. 130% gem damage trap, and then Fury 2s all the way across. Obviously, you'd want Fury 3s, a full set with purple move damage, and then purple gem damage if it's a Fury 3. Okay. Now, I've already told you that this move set does not hit nearly as hard as the move damage move set, and that's true. But I told you I use this move set more often. This is a very easy way to break a whole lot of leech gems fast. And I've used this for showdown contests often because 34 in one shot is pretty decent. You could also add more traps. When you break them, they turn into 6. So I'm going to make 6 traps and get 36 leeches, and then 34 will get broken. You could actually load up the entire side of the board. 7, because 7 times 6 is 42. So you load up most of the board. You add a rumble plate or a gem chucker, gives you a better opportunity to break even more leech gems. Simply put, this is a very, very good card to break a lot of leech gems very fast. Could probably even use it in Stip Tours if they ever have a purple leech gem Stip Tour, and I'm not sure if they do. But if they do, here's your card. Let's take a look at the damage real quick. So we're going to be able to double proc the specs and single proc the barber's blades. The way I like to do it, this seems to be relatively safe. You put 3 traps here, 3 traps here. You don't need this other one. Then you turn all the traps into purple. Flood the board with leech. And then you hit the finisher. There you go. That's 34 leech gems broken. And approximately 30 million with survivability, right? Now he's going to submit me. And that's not going to be very cool, but maybe I get a good cascade. There we go. Cool. Got a good cascade. We can do it all over again. Let's see if we can do another 30 million damage. I don't want to mess with that at all. I'm just going to do this. But same concept. You just run the moveset again. And then hit your finisher. Another 30 million. And check out my health. It almost went back to full health. So you've got survivability if you're trying to do showdown tasks. You've got survivability in really everywhere. So you have sustain. You can keep yourself up. And you can break a lot of leech gems that way. Would I get Tamatonga specifically for his leech gem breaking ability? No. Would I get him for the adding 3 pyros? Yeah, probably. I don't think it's my favorite of the training abilities of the 3 characters that are offered, but it's not bad. And if you don't have him and you want to get the lottery box and him, that's probably not a bad idea, other than it's the lottery box, but it is what it is. Okay. So let's switch over to Braun Breaker, who is, spoiler alert, still one of my favorite cards. I've been able to do a lot of damage with him in feuds. And I use a kind of non-traditional setup for him. There's a video out by Merrick's, and I think it's called Brawn Breaker Relook, if I remember correctly. That shows off a variation of this moveset that's a little bit safer. And then there is a completely different way of running him if you have Mellow, and I don't. All right. But the reason you want Braun, even though he's a great fighter, is his training ability. Yellow moves start with 4 more move points. Blue moves start with 4 more move points. He's one of the double MP trainers. If you have an ability to get a double MP trainer and you don't have the double MP trainer, get the double MP trainer. There is nothing else in that premium prize wall that is as powerful and as roster changing as the double MP trainer. Full stop. It's the most important thing on the prize wall. So if you don't have Brawn Breaker, get Brawn Breaker. But he's a usable fighter. The move set that I use is the from top to bottom side belly to belly suplex. Do 187,000 damage. Choose a 7x3 area to make into snowfall gems, which modifies all gems below it into black. Then the overhead belly to belly suplex. Deal 187,000 damage again. Choose a 7x3 area to make into multiplied gems of strength 5. And the hardcore move here is pretty important. If opponent's class is Trickster, first force your opponents to skip their turn for 1 turn. So he's got a stun built in. And then the Diving Bulldog, I'll talk about here in a second. It is 293,000 damage. Choose 8 gems to make into red gems. This is a break in case of emergency move. All right. For Entourage, it's kind of simple. You want JD Priest for 2 black MP and increase the strength of your multiplied gems to 7. You want Woods for black MP. You want Bailey for multiplied gem damage. And you want Zombie Gunther or any other zombie for multiplied gem damage. I think, who is it? Zombie LA Knight is the zombie who does black gems and multiplies. He's the one you really want here. But I ain't got him, so this is what I use. Now he does have 2 things that makes him very kind of a little bit over the top. The first is the NXT arrival moment. Multiplied gems generated from moves will increase their strength by 5. So all of a sudden you're making 21 strength 12 multiplied gems on the board. Super strong. And then you get a little bit of a buff to red gems. And that'll mean a little bit here in a second. I specifically like using Brawn Breaker in any feuds where I get buffs to multiply gems or buffs to red gems or buffs to black gems. Over here on the strap, I do have Fury 3s on it, so it's going to skew damage a little bit. The Queen's Tiara, whenever you make 6 or more multiplied gems, increase your black gem damage by 50% for 2 turns. And then the Underdog Story. This is important. You really want this plate. Whenever you break 4 or more black gems, generate 10 random red gems at the end of your turn. This is what protects this moveset from RNG a little bit. All right. So let me show you what I'm talking about. There is some luck involved with this, and you have to have the board do the right thing for you. Most of the time it does. And in this case, it surely did. So what we're going to do is put the snowfalls up top. And then we'll put the multiplies down below. Now you want to figure out, you want a horizontal 3 match somewhere. I've got one here, but that leaves a little bit on the table. Or I could do this one, and I'm going to get all 21 of these gems, including these 9 X7s. Cascading got me an entire other row. And then reds sometimes will even cascade even more. That was about, what, 50 million damage? All told, it did, 47 million damage. That's all in good. In feud, all of those multiplied gems get larger, and the underdog story plate will very often actually break more of the snowfalls, so you break more of the multiplied gems. Now, remember I brought up the hardcore move? The hardcore move is a stun against tricksters. And if you check the class advantage wheel, strikers are strong against tricksters. So you're going to get the hype advantage, you're going to get the hype advantage stat buff, and you're going to stun your opponent. Because the other thing that the underdog story will do when it breaks or matches some reds, it'll load the diving bulldog. And you're already going to have these 2 black moves loaded. So next turn against a trickster, if you didn't one-shot him, you do it again. But you choose the 8 to make into red. You go right across the top of the gym board, and you break the entire board black with a bunch of multiplies. And it is, I'm not going to say guaranteed, but it is darn near guaranteed to take out your opponent. Worst case scenario, turn 2. I know there's a lot of RNG to this moveset. I have used Brawn Breaker for a long time. He was my number 1 striker for a long while. With these plates and this moment in feud, and did just fine. Brawn Breaker's the get. You want to get Brawn Breaker. If for some reason you have Brawn Breaker and Tama, the Braun Strowman, and you don't have Braun Strowman is also a great get. Cool. There he is. And there's 2 different ways that I like to run him as well. Now, one, admittedly, is a turn 2 setup. So we're going to talk about that one first. Not only is it a turn 2 setup, it's a turn 2 setup that you have to have the middle line bonus in feuds, which seems ridiculous, and I get it. I understand. But it hits so hard. It's ridiculous. So the moveset here is the Choke Slam. Choose 6 gems to make into blast gems. The Yokosuka Cutter. Increase your gem damage at max. This will do 235. I haven't maxed it out yet. And then the reverse Choke Slam. Choose 3 gems to make into 1-turn countdown gems. That'll deal some damage and make a 3x3 random area to multiply gems of strength 5. All right, that's the moveset. I'm going to have a squirrel moment because I forgot to talk about his training ability. Multiply gems generate from moves will increase their strength by 2. Yellow moves start with 2 more move points. He's part of that cycle that's plus MP plus multiply gems. It's almost essential trainer. If you don't have it, you need it. Multiply gems are meta in the game right now. Still, even with hype, they're still meta. And MP charges are great. To be able to combine both of them, rock solid, A+ tier training ability. All right. So going back, just as a reminder, Choke Slam, Yokosuka Cutter, Reverse Choke Slam. I have a moment for him. It's a showdown moment. So, like, who cares? Over here, Entourage with this one. Like I said, it's a turn 2 with a midline bonus. All right. So you're getting 4 blue MP here, 5 from Santa. You're not worried about getting the Yokosuka cutter loaded turn 1. That'll come. And then you've got JBL, so you can add more blast gems. So now you're choosing 9 blasts. He also does red gem damage and blast gem damage. And then you want Solo Sokoa. Moves that generate countdown gems will create 3 more countdown gems. Now, if you don't have Solo, there is a rack of trainers that you can use here. The Rainbow Gym coaches would be just fine. Damian Priest would be just fine. This Sammy would be okay. Even Typhoon here would be okay. All right. You could put this Cena here for generating more countdown gems. Like, there's a lot of different things you can do. This is just the one that I've landed on for this one. And the strap, Fury 2's 100% gem damage. The Titan plate, old school. Whenever you make 8 or more blast gems, increase the damage of all your gems by 200%. And then either a real American plate where you break red, get blue, or the Uncle Slam, break blue, get red. Either one of these would be just fine. And that's just a little bit of insurance to reload. So with a middle line bonus, you're starting with blue moves charged and your red move is not. So you want to take your countdowns and you want to put them in the corner and you want to put them in a pattern kind of like this. And then with your blast gems, you want to put them in a pattern like this. And you want to remember that you're going to swipe into this. All right. So in fact, I'm going to put this here because I'm going to swipe this up and it'll break that line. And then I want it to attach that line. You see how this pattern works right here? I've got all of this and all of this. Blast gems are not going to touch my countdown gems. Cascades might. The plate chucker might. But that's 10 million. Nothing really to write home about. Now my countdowns have flooded me with multiply gems. I hit the Yokosuka cutter. And then I toss out blast gems again. So this has procced the Titan plate twice. And where's my swipe? It's going to be right here. And now I just do an X pattern. This will break everything but this gem, this gem, this gem, and this gem. It'll take care of everything else. Maybe easier to visualize this way. But yeah, this one, this one, this one, and this one. So of the 59 gems, it will break, 49 gems, it will break 45 of them. Plus a lot of multis. Let's swipe. Break everything. It's 124 million damage. Now, it's turn 2. I understand. Turn 2 is not the greatest. But it works. The other way you can run him, and there is one other way, maybe has a little bit more utility nowadays than it used to because of the existence of newer plates. So I'm going to swap out this entire strap and go to the one that I usually use with him, which is an affiliation strap. Fury 2's the Star Crossplate. Whenever you make 8 or more cross breaks, make 8 randos and multiply gems of strength 8. And then the Shades of Rains. Whenever you make 7 more cross break gems, increase all your gem and move damage by 100% for a turn. We're going to swap into the Beal. The Beal is choose 6 to make into cross breaks. We're going to keep the Yokosuka cutter and then the Monster Bomb. Finisher, deal some damage, force your opponent to skip their turn for 2 turns. This is a break in case of emergency. We're probably not going to use the Monster Bomb. And then for loadout, that's the old loadout. we need red MP and cross break generation. Kyrie Zane gives us 2 red MP, cross break damage up, and then adds 2 more cross breaks. This 8 is what we need to proc both plates. Then we're going to go down here. Stinger for red MP. That's 6, 7 for being ourselves. So now we can just put rainbow damage coaches on. So I'm going to use both Stunning Steve and Hall of Fame Hogan for a 70% base gem damage up. And remember, I'm not using a gem damage strap. So I'm kind of handicapping myself just a little bit. Now this is a turn 1 setup. And it works pretty well. And it's just going to be this simple. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. There's all of our multis that procced. We also procced the Shades of Rains. We're going to hit our Yokosuka Cutter to get a base gem damage buff for everything. And then we're just going to swipe. It does blow up the entire board. It does 55 million. If I had a gem damage trap, that probably touches 60. If I had tier 6 Fury 3s against a tour opponent, that probably puts me into 65-70 range. Completely doable. And then if for some reason your opponent gets a turn and doesn't win, you do it all over again, but you hit the finisher to stun, because the finisher will probably be loaded, and give yourself some time to actually take them out. So yeah, all 3 of these cards are useful in many ways. All 3 of them can be used in battle. Now granted, really only Brawn Breaker is the only one that I'm going to use consistently still, but all 3 of them have their uses. All 3 of them are good at various different things. All 3 of them have objectively better than average training abilities. And all of them are most likely better than anything you're going to get out of this chest. Full stop. If you don't have Monster Bomb, I would take Monster Bomb and this $1,000 prize wall emblems than I would this glowing fate plate. All 3 of these are valuable. If you don't have one of these 3, that should be your target for the end of the month. Anyway, that's all I've got. If you've learned anything today, if you've been entertained by anything today, or if you just happen to like the sound of my voice, do me a favor, click like, click subscribe, share to your faction mates, throw it up in your faction's Discord, and yeah, I'll talk to you next time. Bye.